One of the things I'm saying in SOAR is don't waste time. I'd rather see you waste money than to waste time.
Right.
You can get some more money. I could give you some money. You could give me some money. We could hook her up. We could hook you up. You'll be all right. I can't give you not one day if you need it. I can't give you 30 seconds if you need it. So the prime commodity is your time.
Right.
And when you are young, you take it for granted because you think you're gonna always have plenty of it. You might have more of it, you might not. And if you do have it, nothing says you're gonna feel like, look like, move like you do right now. What you do have is this present moment. So if you want to change your diet, you can change your outcome. But you have to stop talking to yourself the way you do. Because if you continue to talk to yourself the way you do, you will always be where you've always been. It is what you say within yourself that heals you. Because the reality about it is your definition of excellent rises no higher than your level of exposure. Whatever you've been exposed to, that becomes the new paradigm of what excellent is to you. And it shifts from day to day. The reality is we have to make up in our mind that whatever our definition of excellence is, it's gonna change. That kind of talk, saying that to yourself, drives back the other voices of negativity that we all have creep up behind us and tell us that we're not capable and we're not competent and we're not gifted enough and we're not good enough or we waited too late or God is punishing us. To talk back to those voices shuts the enemy down. The pressure I was going through, I was causing. Because the pressure I was going through was coming from the things that I allowed to reverberate in my head. And I'm wondering if there are things echoing in your head right now that are stopping you from living your best life because you will not silence them by speaking back. I found out it is not what they say about you that limits you the most. It's that you might believe them and start saying that to yourself. And there were many, many, many people who said that I would never be anything. I just chose not to be one of them. And as long as it's not your mouth that says it, you can overcome theirs all day long. And destiny is something that we grope after. Providence and purpose is something that we see through a very dark glass. And some of the most momentous moments in my life, I stumbled into groping to understand why am I here and who am I really? And I think that those questions to me are more important than answers. The world is a university and everyone in it is a teacher. When you wake up in the morning, be sure you go to school. And I've been doing that all of my life. Yeah, I've learned from everybody I ever met, good or bad, right or wrong. I learned something. I think periodically, wherever there is purpose and wherever there is resistance to that purpose, pressure releases us from that resistance. And the more that we yield to the process. But the problem today is that we don't preach process. We preach promises. So we have raised a generation of people who see God in promises, not process. You see, it depends on whose perspective. It's like a husband and a wife live in the same house, have same address, eat the same food, but they're having two different experiences. And so the point of view determines the relativity of the truth, the power of the truth, the significance of the truth is all brought about by who's talking. I have always been relentless. I never allowed my circumstances to destroy my intensity and my drive and my feeling that God was going to do something in my life. Success that you have not been groomed for is like birthing a baby prematurely. The chances of survival go down the earlier the baby is exposed. And to be exposed too soon is not a blessing, it's a curse. You don't want anything before it's time. Nothing before it's time. There's a time and a season for every purpose under heaven. And so anything that's valuable, you protect. And in that fast pace that we live in, there is a certain amount of invisible pressure. And the strange thing about it is you feel the pain, you sense the pressure, and you can't see the source. So all of a sudden, you're getting the impact as if there were an assailant. But there's no assailant that you can see. And the seeds always hint to us that life comes out of death. As the outer encasement corrodes in the ground, the inner life bursts forth. And everything that dies in you is only so that something else can be born in you. And it is the urgency of a fleeting moment. The escape out of pain is a fleeting moment. It is passing by. And if you're not willing to come out of your coat and drop your cup and step into that moment blindly, without understanding it, without somebody apologizing, without somebody coming back and making it right, this is not about them, this is about you. This is about you. When you are truly gifted, you can't see it. When you are truly gifted, it is your normal. And so the frustration is you're trying to manifest your gift and you are manifesting your gift, but you don't know that that is your gift because your gift is your normal. So sometimes the more gifted you are, the more vulnerable you are, and the more affirmation you need from your inner circle. Sometimes people will call you a name and you start living up to the name and it limits you from what else God wants to do in your life. And an appreciation for the value of life and a refusal to allow anybody to take away the great privilege of being alive. I will think for myself. I will move in my own direction. You can say whatever you want to say about it, but I'm gonna be me. You see what I'm saying? At the core of everything SOAR is saying, don't be limited. Don't put a period because you did one thing that you can't do something else, that you can't be something else, that you can't evolve as an individual, that you can't explore other idioms of thought. You came from the dirt, and where you came from will always call you back. You have to escape the gravitational pull of where you came from. And in order to do that, you have to break through into a higher law. The higher law is the law of aerodynamics. But you have to break into it, and what I need the force for it, the reason I need the runway to get my engines ramped up is because when I come up against it, and this is where young people make a mistake, they underestimate the pull to fall backwards. They saw planes take off and they said, I can do that, but they underestimate how much force it takes to break through the gravitational pull that brings you back down. So when they fall back down, they give up on themselves and they stop believing in themselves. Whereas if you would just go faster at it and go harder at it, you would break through the law of gravity.